evening and a warm welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Hishain Ali and let's have a look at the headlines first. The gutted container vessel Express Pearl was being towed away to deeper waters. President instructs to expedite the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine procurement process. News in detail. The gutted container vessel Express Pearl was seen sinking as it was being towed away to deeper waters of Sri Lanka, continuing to emit smoke, raising fears of an oil spill. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had okayed the slavers to tow the ship anchored in the outer harbour of Colombo port to deeper waters while investigators questioned the crew. The Indian High Commission in Colombo in a statement said that slavers had boarded Express Pearl, a 37,000 deadweight ton container ship anchored off Sri Lanka, and are assessing the ship. It is not clear whether over 300 tons of bunkers on board have burnt off or are still on board. Authorities have also launched a criminal probe in the incident, with the captain and member of the crew being questioned by police. Authorities have questioned the captain of Express Pearl and courts have issued an order barring them from leaving the country. Sri Lanka's National Aquatic Resources Agency said it had taken water and soil samples from the waters on the seabed below the wreck. The acid levels around the waters was not unusually high and soil samples would be tested. However, after a meeting with the officials, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa yesterday instructed to issue an order to tow the vessel into the deep seas. The decision was put into action on the powers vested with the chairman of Marine Environment Protection Authority and following the technical facts as well as the advice of the Attorney General.
Experts la innone meke experts la kawuda ඒ සංවිධාන වලින් වහාම කියන්න ඕන මෙන්න මේක තමයි road map එක මේක තමයි විය යුත්තේ කියලා. ඒක තමයි අපිට එතකොට ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඒකට decision එක දෙන්න ඕන responsible ආයතන කීපයක් තියෙනවනේ. ඒ ආයතන වලින් ඉක්මනටම decide කරන්න මේකට කල යුත්තේ මොකක්ද කියන එක.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has instructed to expedite the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine procurement process. Authorities have informed the president that close to 600,000 persons are due to receive the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine and waiting for it. Instructions to expedite the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine procurement process have been issued by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to his principal advisor and Presidential Task Force for National Deployment and Vaccination Plan for COVID-19, head Lalit Veeratunga. Close to 600,000 persons are due to receive the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine, having received the first dose of the vaccine between 29 January and 22nd April. It has been reported that instructions have been given to secure the sufficient doses at any price. The country received a total of $1.26 million of AstraZeneca this year, of which 500,000 was purchased from the Serum Institute of India, 500,000 was donated by the Government of India, and 264,000 was received through the COVAX facility. Meanwhile, discussions were yesterday held between the Justice Ministry and the Pharmaceutical Production, Supply and Regulation State Ministry on the legal status of COVID-19 vaccine production in Sri Lanka, as well as the feasibility of manufacturing 7 million doses by September. The government is determined to vaccinate 60% of the country's population by the end of the year and has administered the first doses to 1.7 million persons and the second doses to 349,745 persons. The vaccinated population includes 2,865 Chinese nationals working in Sri Lanka who received the first dose of the Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccine and 2,435 Chinese nationals working in Sri Lanka who received the second dose of the Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccine. The first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine has been administered to 739,499 persons in total, including 72,887 persons who received the vaccine on Monday. Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break.
Hello. දැන් ඔයා හිතන්නේ හැමදේම වෙනස් වුනේ කොහොමද කියලානේ? උත්තරේ මගේ ළඟ තියෙනවා. නෑකම් මොනෑකම් හඳුනගත්තා. අපිවම වෙනස් කරගන්න ක්‍රම හෙව්වා. අලුත් බීජ පැල කෙරුවා. හිතුනේ ඒක කරන්න බෑ වගේ තමයි. හැබැයි ඒක කරන්න පටන් ගන්නකම් විතරයි. ඒක දැවැන්ත එකමුතුවක්. අපි හැදුනේ එකම සබැඳියාවක බැඳීමෙන්. හැමදේම හොඳ වුණේ සබැඳියාවේ හැදීමෙන්. අපි මෙතනට ආවේම එකම එක සබැඳියාවක රැඳීමෙන්. ගෙදරට වැඩකට ගමනට එකම එක සබැඳියාවක බැඳෙන මුළු මහත් රටකට. Good morning sir, how can I help?
SLT Mobitel එකම එක සබැඳියාව.
News, views, highlights, updates and opinions. This is Wake Up With Us.
Welcome back after the break. Sri Lanka recorded 859 arrivals, including 77 tourists, in 14 flights less than 24 hours after authorities lifted a COVID-19 travel suspension on inbound passengers yesterday. However, the officials at the airports asserted that all the passengers arrived in the country will be quarantined for 14 days. With the reopening airports yesterday, the tourists had arrived in two batches, one at 8:30 a.m. with 7 passengers from the US, 9 foreign passport holders of Sri Lankan origin, and 1 each from Germany, the Netherlands and Myanmar. Sri Lanka had imposed a 10-day travel suspension inbound passengers from May 21st to 31st. Several countries have imposed travel restrictions on Sri Lanka too in view of a resurgence of the epidemic, with over 2,500 cases reported daily. Meanwhile, our television, which comes under IWS Holdings, also joined in another charity service last weekend. It is a clear fact that with ongoing travel restrictions, abundance of families has faced difficulties of making an earning to run their families. RTV, in addition to national task of providing the news to the country and the world, it also launched another charity service providing dry rations for the people in the Mahabag area. The event was organised with the assistance of the Mahabaghe police station, and they also assisted the RTV to identify the help-needy families in the area.
මුකුත් මොනා කරන්න කියලා කල්පනා කරන් හිටියේ. ඉතින් මේ වගේ දෙයක් කරන එක බොහොම සන්තෝසයි. ස්තුතියි වෙනවා ඉතින් නාලිකාවටයි.
සාමාන්‍ය අපිට මේක ලොකු සහනයක්. මේ බඩු මල්ල වුණත් දවස් 2ක් 3ක් 4ක් 5ක් අපිට සාමාන්‍ය විමා ගන්න පුළුවන්.
Central bank data shows that Sri Lanka's 2021 budget deficit has been revised up to 9.5% of gross domestic product from the initial 8.9% target presented to Parliament, with nominal GDP for the year revised down. According to latest data, the nominal overall deficit remains at 1,565 billion rupees. The revenue deficit, or the gap between total revenues and current spending, has been revised up to 3.1% of GDP from 2.9% presented to the Parliament. Current spending has been revised up to 15.4% of GDP, with provincial council spending of 68 billion rupees and 14.9% without them. Capital spending has been revised up to 6.4% from 6%. Revenues have been revised up to 12.3% of GDP from 11.4%, or 2019 billion rupees. Without provincial councils, revenues are set at 11.8%, or 1,951 billion rupees. In 2020, the equivalent of 78 cents of every tax rupee was spent on salaries and pensions, leaving hardly any money left for other government services. The nominal deficit for 2021 of 1,565 billion rupees is expected to be financed with 99 billion rupees of foreign borrowings and 1,466 billion rupees in domestic money. In 2020, after money printing and currency falls triggered downgrades, Sri Lanka had to repay $83 billion of foreign debt on a net basis. Sri Lanka also claimed the deficit in 2020 was 11.7 after financing a 13.97 deficit during the year, triggering data controversy. The Finance Ministry suddenly pushed back payment arrears to the prior year, also changing the reported deficit in year 2019. Central Bank brought back the rule of mandatory conversion of 10% of workers' remittances to rupees by banks on a weekly basis. Country's monetary regulator, Central Bank, made this fresh directive to banks last week. Previously, via a directive on the 17th of March, the Central Bank suspended the mandatory conversion for worker remittances until further notice. The original move to make 10% conversion mandatory was made in January this year on a quarterly basis. That was also applied only when such conversion amounts to $1 million. Workers' remittances inflows has been robust so far this year, and in the first 4 months of 2021, workers' remittances amounted to $2.38 billion, up 21% from the corresponding period of last year. Last year, workers' remittances amounted to $7.1 billion, up by 5.8% from 2019. The government is also paying ₹2 per every dollar as per a proposal of the 2021 budget as an encouragement of foreign workers. Additionally, foreign currency income earned through employment by a Sri Lankan national who is working or has worked abroad, or a Sri Lankan national who resides in Sri Lanka and earns foreign currency income through rendering services in nature of employment abroad, will qualify to receive an additional ₹2 per dollar converted to Sri Lankan rupees from the 28th of December last year. Stay tuned for stock updates.
SLT Mobitel Home Broadband data balance එක බලා ගන්න extra GB මිලදී ගන්න දුරකථන දෝෂ වාර්තා කරන්න දැන් හරිම ලේසි. My SLT app එක භාවිතා කරන්න නැත්නම් 01121212 SLT Mobitel ස්වයංක්‍රීය සේවාවට පිවිසෙන්න.
Sponsored by අතන මෙතන හැමතැනම තියෙන සේවාවන් එක තැනකට ගෙන My SLT app දැන් සියලුම SLT Mobitel සේවාවන් වලට My SLT app හරහා එකවර පිවිසීමේ හැකියාව. SLT Mobitel එකම එක
Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The all-share price index dropped by 13.99 points to close at 7,436.55, and the S&P SL20 dropped by 1.34 points to close at 3,000.92. The turnover was 2.1 billion rupees and over 75 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. And that's all news for today. See you tomorrow with State of Business at the usual time. Until then, take care and good night.
State of Business was sponsored by
බාධා නැති සීමා නැති SLT Mobitel Home 4G දැන් පුළුල් ආවරණයක් සමග
IWS Aviation.
දැන් සියලුම SLT Mobitel සේවාවන් වලට My SLT app හරහා එකවර පිවිසීමේ හැකියාව.